song.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. So, how did you come to playing in a band?
When I was a little kid, my uncle used to play up. I'm from Jersey, so my uncle used to play in all these hair metal bands actually up in New Jersey and stuff. And they used to take me to these gigs, and I would see these bands, and the band, a lot of them they looked like chicks, some of the dudes and stuff, but there was always all these girls there. That's the one thing I always noticed was I was like, why are all these? Then they loved them. They were screaming, and and when I saw that, I kind of figured, I was like, well, that's pretty cool. And then I would watch all the guys get together, and jam and take me to the practices and stuff like that. And I'm just telling you right away, man, I knew. I think the first time I saw a show, I was really young. I don't even know the age. My Uncle Tommy had taken me. I knew right away. I was like, yeah, this is definitely something that I want to do. Hence the girls and,
Yeah.
I mean, but yeah.
How did you get turned on to underground music?
My Uncle Rocky actually had some Slayer discs and stuff, actually tapes at that time. I don't even know if there was CDs at that time, but some Slayer discs. AC/DC actually was probably the first, which is not even underground, but it was probably the first thing that started getting me really into not the radio bands.
Right.
Like I said, they were a popular band, but I remember Dirty Deeds. My stepfather had at that time that my mother was married to, and the Grim Reaper and stuff like that. And I started hearing all these different, basically it was album covers that would turn me on to them, I must say even, but I would see these different tapes and I would have to hear them right when I saw the cover. And I think that's even something that I do now is that I make sure our album covers have a certain look to them, because I don't know if it's as important now, but when I was a kid it was like, when I saw a record cover, like you saw an Iron Maiden record cover, you're like, I gotta get that.
Yeah.
Or Megadeth record cover,
Yep.
or Slayer, you were like, holy shit, what is this? You
Yep.
know? And I just knew that I wanted to check it out. And that's how I found out about a lot of bands back in the day.
Oh, yeah. What is the coolest thing about playing in a band?
To me, it's just life. It's just what I think that if I didn't play in a band, it sounds really shitty, but I don't know what else. I work, I do all that stuff, but it's what keeps me motivated to keep on going on, because the world kind of sucks in a lot of ways, and it's the one thing that, since I was a young kid, I knew it just made me feel like I could do something, and I can express myself, and I think for a lot of people, it's the one thing that keeps you from blowing your brains out sometimes, and I don't plan on, I don't know how long I'll do it, but I don't see I can't picture stopping for a long time, so.
What is the worst thing about playing in a band?
Oh, yeah, so, you always got, band drama, which I always try to avoid out. You're always going to have it. I mean, it's just the way it goes. The money sucks, but you should never go into, I personally, I don't think you should ever go into it for the money, because if you do, you're in it, first of all, for the wrong reason, and you're going to be let down.
Yeah.
I mean, I even think that, a lot of the bands, it's like a popularity contest, a lot of it, man, and money and all that shit just pollutes it all, and
Yep.
I really believe that, and I think that's the one thing that sucks about playing in bands, is when you go to the club and people are bitching about the cash, it's vice versa, the club owners treat you like shit,
Yeah.
And nobody wants to pay anybody, which is understandable, hey, it's just, you can't take it personal or you'll fucking hate it, basically.
Yep. What is the most memorable show you've ever played?
Well, we played in Puerto Rico with Generichrist in San Juan, which was, it has to be because we went on a plane and took off. And for us, we were, at that time period, I don't even know if we should have been there, but we had went there, and that had to be because they put us on, TV there and shit, and we're not used to that,
Yeah.
We're not used to any of that. That has to be, one of that, and we played with Cannibal Corpse over at the Brass Mug, which was killer, because, we all grew up, when you grow up listening to these bands, and you get to share the stage with them one day, and I don't know if you're really sharing the stage with them, but you are.
Right.
It's just cool, we played with Overkill and Cannibal and Goat War and all these bands that we all grew up liking, and it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
To say.
Oh yeah. What are your goals as a band?
Keep on going. I can't tell you, I know that when I started with Generichrist especially, people were, you get bandmates and they're like, oh, you can't do it without me, fuck you, and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, well, I don't want to keep on joining bands, because when I was younger, I was in and out of punk bands and metal bands, and all that shit. And I just didn't want to do that anymore. So I think with Generichrist, it was just to keep on going. and to not have anybody slow you down, not have any member slow you down. You know, it should be a brotherhood. That's true, but it's not always like that.
Yeah.
And I think, you know, we try to keep the drama out of it, I know, and I think that's a big thing, you know, I mean, but I just think keep on going, that's all, that's our big thing, is not let it, I don't want to stop until I'm ready to stop. I don't want to stop because some dude has to quit because his girlfriend's bitching at him, or some dude's got a kid, or whatever, it's all understandable.
Right.
But we still go on.
Yep. Hell yeah.
I lost myself in that question too. I was drifting into my pothead of, you know.
Do you make money or lose money playing in a band?
Oh, well, we don't make money playing in a band. I would say we lose it if we weren't putting it into something that we cared about. Because I can go soup up my car, or I can go, which I don't. If you see it's outside, it's a piece of shit. But I feel like it's something you care about. Like if you have a kid, you buy it clothes.
Right.
You teach it things. You do things for it. You know, for me, me and the guys in my band at least have a band. So to me, it's not really, you know, it's putting stuff into something you care about. And, you know, you're only robbing yourself because at the end of the day, to me, like what you've done through say if you're around for 15 years or 5 years or 20 years, you leave behind what you've done pretty much. So,
yeah.
I mean, you know, it's never a bad investment if you really care about what you're doing.
Yeah.
When it's not true is when it's a bad investment.
Outside of being in a band, how do you make a living?
I work for an adult company, actually. I'm not a porn actor, no, but I do work for a porn company, and it pays the bills, and has done it for a good amount of years now. And they're cool with what I do, and flexible, and, you know, I can't tell you what I'll be doing in 5 years from now, but, you know, I know that it's a good job, and the band doesn't pay the bills, so someone's got to.
Right.
So, and porn doesn't slow down, and the porn business just keeps on rolling, so, you know.
Hell yeah. What is the biggest crowd you've ever played for?
I think Cannibal Corpse was sold out. I would have to say them. I think Puerto Rico had a good crowd, but I think that the Cannibal Corpse crowd in Tampa was probably the biggest.
Hell yeah. What's the smallest crowd you've ever played for?
A couple months ago, we drove to Cocoa Beach, and we had booked this show with our friends from Rip Torn, cool guys.
Right.
And we showed up there, and first of all, there was no local bands on the show. So, like, they didn't tell us that, you know. No flyers. So
Right.
I walked up to the promoter, and I said, hey, man, is there any flyers for this show? And he scratched his head, and he's like, fuck, man. He's like, I knew I should have done that, you know. So we actually played for Rip Torn and vice versa.
Right.
I think there was, like, one guy, drunk guy, maybe a heckler in the crowd or something. But besides that, there was absolutely no one. It was the worst. If it wasn't for the other band being there and us being friends, it would have really sucked.
Right.
You know, that was the biggest nightmare. I played in front of no one before, but this was absolutely like you're driving to a whole other town
to play
in front of no one, and the promoter, and he tried to pay us $5 between all the bands at the end.
Oh shit.
He bought out $5 and he's like, "This is what we have." So, yeah, it sucked.
Yeah. Does your band tour? If so, where have you been? And if not, do you see yourself touring?
No, we do not tour at this time. You know, we've been out of this area. We've been to San Juan, like I said, and been other places, but we don't tour right now. It's hard to tour because you got, you know, 5 dudes. Everyone's got, especially now in our lives, everyone's got different shit going on. We do plan on touring off the new album, but right now I think it's different than like when I was a kid. I had done that kind of stuff with punk bands. You hop in a band for 3 weeks and go out, and it was cool and shit, you know. And
right.
But now you got to think a little bit more about it because you don't want to play for no one in Georgia and North Carolina, and you know, I mean, but we will definitely do more of it. It's just we're gonna plan it, make sure it's planned out because you know.
Right. Yeah.
You know how it goes.
Yep. If you had to give a new band advice on what you've learned being in bands, what would you tell them? Don't
take yourself too serious. Don't tell people how good you are. Show them how good you are. Don't get involved in the bullshit. There's always going to be bullshit, especially if you last for a while. And just, you know, I know that when we started, we weren't like other bands. You know, we didn't come out playing death metal. Like it was, we just did what we did.
Right.
We got shit for it. But eventually it worked out, and now through the years, it's been 11 years now or so, we have the members that are capable of playing what we want to play, and it's killer now. But just don't take yourself too serious. I see a lot of that. Like, you'll show up to a club and bands will... Anybody can get a bunch of their friends to come to shows sometimes. Sometimes you can't.
Right.
But, like, keep it real, man. And you don't tell people how good you are.
Right.
Let them be the judge.
Yeah. Yep. Hell yeah. How many releases do you have out?
Truthfully, I think we have, like... I'm gonna say, like, 7 or 8. We have, like, splits and demos and some of the shit we wish was not out, but we have it out. It's like waking up in the morning next to something like, what the hell did I do? But now we have 2 more coming out though, so it's gonna even add to that. But the new ones we really took our time on. But we got a shitload of releases, man. I couldn't even. It's sad that I can't tell you how many, but there's a lot.
Oh yeah. Is your family supportive of your musical career?
Yes. It's just me. They still say to me, I'm in my 30s now, and they're like, we thought you'd grow out of this shit, but it ain't happening. This is me, and it's what it is. So they, they're cool.
Hell yeah. Does your job know you play in a band, and are they supportive?
Yes, they're all cool. If I need time off, they give it to me. I do work for some really good people, so I'm fortunate. I know a lot of guys who aren't. I have band members who their bosses fuck with them every time they got to go away or go on. We have members in our band who have to tour and shit,
Right.
So, I'm very lucky. I have good people I work for.
Oh, yeah. How is your local music scene? Do you feel bands support each other, or do you feel that there is a competitive nature?
It's funny because we have, in a lot of ways, I think it's really good. You have, Tampa Bay hardcore, you have the Tampa and St. Pete scene to me are a lot, they're different, but a lot of the bands mingle together and stuff. And you're always going to have your ego bands, but everyone knows who they are, and I don't know, I just don't pay attention.
Right.
But we have bands that have been around forever, like fucking Ulcer and stuff like that, and killer guys, man. We have great bands, from punk to metal. I hate to name bands because you forget some and you forget douchebag, but we have, Brutality, Destined to Ruin, After Death, punk band, Mosquito Teeth, Bleeding Money, who's killer.
Right.
The Scurvy. You have, that guy Brandon, man. He's done a lot for the punk scene in general, in my opinion, because I remember 2003 when I was booking shows when it wasn't like it is now.
Right.
And people can say what they want, but that dude brings the bands here.
Yes, he does.
And I have nothing but respect, for. I think it's good, man. I think it's better here than it is a lot of places.
Yeah.
So that's my opinion.
Hell yeah. What do you think can be done to help improve the local music scene?
Just stop talking so much shit, people, and just get along, and just go see each other's bands, or just I don't know. It's weird. Like, I think we're lucky in Tampa right now. Like, and I'm speaking 2014 or basically 2015, whatever.
Right.
But I think that right now there's always gonna be cliques.
Yeah.
There's always gonna be bands that click together and bands that don't. But I think everyone just needs to be real. I think that's the big thing, man. I think this is a time period now where we're at where you don't need to be fake anymore, because it isn't about that. It's not about the makeup and all that shit anymore. It's about just being who you are. And
hell yeah. How did it come that you play in more than one band?
I don't like to play a million shows. I love to record. I love to write. I don't mind playing shows, but I'm not someone who play it. Like, even if you look at Generichrist through the years, we don't play tons of shows.
Right.
And I think that gave me the opportunity to play with other people and to write different kinds of music, and not, like, everything I do is a little different. I try to make it that way.
Right.
I just love to write, and to me, it's the one way that I can do that. Some of the bands I'm with, some of the members live in Germany, and we trade tapes and stuff like that, because just, they're killer guys, and I get along with them, and it works out well. But I think it's great. If you can afford, if you can do it, do it. It could be a pain in the ass, too, but I just love to write, so.
Oh, yeah. Does being in more than one band ever cause issues between your bands?
I don't let it, man. I'm really weird. Like I think that anybody can talk to me and I'm totally down to earth, but I don't deal with I don't have anybody tell me what I can do and can't do.
Right.
You know, it's just not my thing. And I don't tell anybody else what they can and can't do.
Right.
You know, I play in a band with some of my best friends that I've known for. I mean, you know, I've played with Guy Laux forever. Ed Webb is one of my best friends. You know, and they play. You know, Ed tours with Massacre. I mean, he's having a great. Everyone should be able to do whatever they want to do, and if it's not really interfering with your band, then I think it's cool. You know, as long as you're not just totally ditching everybody, and
right.
That's when it becomes more political, I think. But I don't even.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't even deal with it.
Have you ever had to play more than one show a night?
No. Never have yet. I don't think I know our bass player has, because we've played with him with Massacre and Destiny to Ruin, and
right.
But I have never done that. No, I'm lazy.
How do you keep from burning out? With all that you're doing?
I am burnt out. That's how I can do it. No, I mean, we have good people around us. Like I said, I play with a bunch of cool dudes who I get along with, which is a big difference. I'm sure we all have played. Everyone's played with people they don't get along with, and it sucks. I play with guys I get along with. For the most part, the venues are pretty cool around here. The Brass Mug has been supporting bands since, God, the 3 venues now, whatever. But still, man, Heather and Rick, and just a lot of the bands are friends. It's a very, the thing about the Tampa Bay, St. Pete scene is it's very incestuous, I guess you'd say. Like a lot of guys have played with other bands, and
right.
Everyone's been in everybody else's band before.
Yeah.
So I think that it keeps it, we all know each other, and it's fun, man. I don't know. Sometimes after a show, there's nothing better than hanging out with everybody at the bar and just bullshitting with all your buddies. Catching up, because we all got real lives and stuff like that. So.
Yep. That's pretty much it. Cool.